Town regular meeting, December 10th, 2019, 6:30. Call to order, roll call on establishment of quorum.
Duncan.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
Bainey.
Here.
Present. Consideration and action on the consent agenda.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda. There's a second?
Yes.
Second it.
Here, Gator did.
Duncan.
Yes.
Collins. Yes. Bainey.
Yes.
Fire Department, discussion, consideration, and possible action on item A, monthly operations and maintenance.
85 is back in service. Got the fuel issue fixed on the boat, so it was down last month, but we got it back up and going. Had a total of 14 runs last month. That's about all we have on that part.
B, removal of firefighters Bailey Kearns and Ty Cody from the roles of the Delaware Volunteer Fire Department.
Yes, we voted to remove Ty. He moved out of town, and the other one I'd rather not discuss right here.
Do I need to make a motion that we remove? I make a motion we approve the removal of firefighters Bailey Kearns and Ty Cody from the roles.
I second. Duncan.
Yes.
Collins. Yes. Bainey.
Yes.
Progress report on fire letters.
Casita asked for that to be put on the agenda. We have currently 53 paid fire dues at $75. And if you'll look on your trial balance on the 404, that is the fire department income that has been brought in from July 1st to current. It's $7,041.52. That includes the fire subscription fees of $75 that have been paid.
Are there any more out there, Kathy, that we need to probably go over a list? And
Oh, there's probably
okay.
tons more.
Okay. So I need to get with you to go over
And
the stock.
I let them pay
Yeah.
throughout the year. It just goes from October to October.
Okay. Well, I'll get with Chair, I'll have a list of registered voters, and maybe we can get some more from that.
Item 4, discussion, consideration, and possible action on fire department paying the $5,000 per conditions of the agreement from June 13th, 2017 for the purchase of the rescue truck. Reduce fire department budget to $5,000.
Okay. I'm just gonna get right into this, and I'm making a motion that we deduct the $5,000 from the Volunteer Fire Department Maintenance and Operations Fund to pay the balance due on the fire and rescue unit for the town of Delaware. I would like a provision that the fire department be notified of their operating balance on a monthly basis so that they don't go over that.
I had asked last month if Jens had ever done any fundraisers or anything with the mention of paying back that $5,000. And Jens had said no. In September 26, 2017, funds will be used to pay back the city for the portion of the new rescue truck.
I'm the one that usually does those notices, so, no, you haven't.
And then May 5th, Delaware rescue truck purchased last year with the help of all supporters that attended the Delaware fundraiser fire department fundraisers.
Did I put that in there? I don't know. Like I said, the let's just go ahead and take it out of their operating, because that's where everybody's wanting to take it out of their operating and maintenance budget. I've made a motion. And then they'll have to figure out a way to, operate the rest of the year.
Do we know what the budget is right now? What it consists of? How much is there?
You've got on 404 fire department income, it says you have $7,000. And so far, is this correct, expensive, they spent $23.77 under the 605.
That,
Okay, so the 707 is
We-
what they had to start in the year.
that is your income so far for this year that has been brought in through fire subscription plans and donations. Well, basically, it's maintenance and operation funds that come from the government.
Right.
So that's what's been brought in. The general fund usually gives a portion to the fire department for maintenance and operations. That has not been done to date. Bill Turner will get our budget to us probably next month. So right now, this is the way it stands.
Okay, so what's the proposed budget?
22,000.
Okay. So technically, they have this 7,041.
Well, generally, that's what it is.
2,300.
It's all going to depend on what our
Right, the
income.
appropriations, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
appropriations are in, compared to our, what is brought in through our franchise fees. So it's just going to depend on what that is.
But basically, they have about $4,500 to operate until that money's been appropriated.
Yes.
Okay.
Until that's appropriated, yes.
So I say we go ahead and move $5,000.
I'll second that motion.
Duncan?
No.
Collins?
Yes.
Bainey?
Yes.
Discussion of hiring someone to produce blueprints for construction of the new city hall.
And I had asked that to be put on because I've had some people want to know when the new city hall was going to be, but I realized that we're going to have to get blueprints in place first. Are we at a place that we can do that, or do we have someone in mind on that?
I think we really need to finish up with the community building and our walk path before we start any other
Okay.
city projects.
Okay.
But that's just my feeling.
Well, we've been trying to get somebody to clean the bricks so that we can get the lot cleaned off.
Right.
I mean, this has been an ongoing deal for a year. You know, we've got, I don't know, there's 5,000-6,000 of them that's been cleaned, something like that. That we've put at the water plant, they're on pallets and stuff. We've got a couple people talking about wanting to clean the bricks, so it's an ongoing deal. You know, trying to get the bricks to use back on the building and stuff like
I
that.
think we jumped the gun getting the building tore down. And then we run into the standstill. We've got too much stuff going on.
Well, and I just asked about this because I know how long it
Yeah.
takes to even get blueprints drawn up. I mean, just because we got blueprints doesn't mean that we're going to just jump right in and do anything.
Of course,
Do we need can we not figure that, do our own blueprints?
I don't care, just as long as it's built to code and everything, and you have, you hire regular contractors to do the construction of the building, so.
I think you guys need to figure out what you want before you start trying to, go out for get somebody to draw them up, because they're gonna ask what you want, it's the first
Right,
thing
and
they're
that's
gonna
why I
ask.
say, that's why we need to get together, and we need to start thinking about that and getting them to a blueprint, and like new blueprints for them.
So do you want to try to plan a meeting,
Next
planning
month,
meeting?
after the first of the year, I mean, sometime next year, January sometime, be fine.
There's not a vote for this, so there's no.
It's just discussion.
Discussion on possible hiring of contractors to help with completion of the community building project.
I had asked that to be put on there so that we could, with winter coming that day, we could get this thing closed and get it completed. I mean, I know Ethan and Kathy are working, they're working out in the cold and everything. We've got the money to work on the building. I say we get somebody to help finish it up and complete it as quickly as possible.
I mean, I agree we need to get it done, we don't. And that takes away from you from doing sewer.
I don't have a
stuff.
problem with it. The thing about this is, when you say finish it up, that wasn't in the money that we talked about to start with. The money that we talked about when we originally started this was just to get it dried in, and we was gonna finish it up later on. So, you know.
We need to get to the point where we can start working on the inside.
Right. I mean, that's just a point. And the thing about it is it won't take 3 or 4 days to have it dried in. We're not that far. I mean, the walls has been put up. I mean, the top plates is down, it's all laid out. Trusses are at the plant, plywood's at the plant. You know, all it takes is just slamming it up there. I've got all the brackets and everything to do it. Just catching the day where we can get 2 or 3 people to help us and stuff. And I've got some guys here in town that said that they'd come up and help. But as far as getting that done, we've got to get the tin ordered for it. I kind of hate to put the plywood up until we're ready to put the tin on it because of cold weather, it might start raining. We'll have plywood floating down the mortgage before we get tin put on it.
See if the tin would be in.
It'll just take a couple days.
So, I mean,
You got the plywood now?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've got everything except the tin and the wrapping. And I'll just, when that delivered, I want to go up.
Have you already purchased the tin?
No, Richard said to call him on Monday and he'll get it in 2 days.
Make a motion to go ahead and call that in. Yeah, you didn't have to get on that one. I said, you've already had it's just a discussion.
Yeah, you've already agreed to
Purchase tin for him.
last month.
This good.
Well, 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago.
Helping weed and stuff, or is he done that?
You got a little bit of trouble this week.
Oh, okay. I was gonna see if he could help him, with this here.
Yeah, he's kind of a hit or miss, but right now he's a miss.
Discussion.
The sheriff said at our table, come on.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the list of town meetings for calendar year 2020.
You have in your folder, we approve these every year at the December for the calendar year, the following year, 2020. So this is the list of your meeting dates. Of course, we'll have to go through this and do it in the Public Works meeting, but it's the second Tuesday of every month at 6:30.
Make a motion to go ahead and approve the list of town meetings for the calendar year 2020.
Duncan?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action in the old business, the T-State grant progress report.
In your folder is your expenditures to date for the TSEC grant. We started out with $36,000. Our backstop was $28,750. After our project number 2, which was the basketball pad, which included the screenings, the concrete work, backboard and goal, and the goalpost, our balance was $23,905.50. Project number 3 is the playground equipment. It was delivered yesterday. We unloaded it. It was pretty cool. He called us yesterday morning and said it was here, so we gathered up and unloaded it. Mary and Bob helped us, and Davey. The cost for that was $18,798, which leaves us $5,107.50 to do our walking track. So we're gonna call and see when we can start getting the rock delivered for that. It'll be, we did get our extension till February, so, but that, we don't have to have the projects up and complete. We just have to have the
Just start.
expenditures made and have the proof of expenditures, so we'll be doing good on that. But as soon as it gets warm enough, we'll need to get a work party gathered up and get some equipment put together.
Are we on old business?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
On the fuel cards on the fire trucks.
Fuel cards, yes. I called our representative, left, and so that just left all the accounts she was handling in limbo. So he's gonna get somebody else on it and get us situated pretty quick, he said. He said he'd try to get it done just as quick as he could.
The other night, when all the fires broke out, one gas station was out of fuel. Nobody could fuel.
B, the community building addition. Kind of discussed it earlier. C, Bartnet Internet Service proposal from Tota Communications to bring internet service to Delaware.
In your folder, you all have a letter that was sent to us by Total, and they are, well, but Shannon, you want to take it from there? I don't need to read it.
Mayor and City Council, this is a follow-up to the meeting that the City Council representatives had on October 8th, 2019. We've had several site surveys from residents and neighbors. At the present time, the existing water tower seems to be the central location of these site surveys. I would propose that we place some temporary facilities on the water tower until a more permanent location can be found. I would also propose that we place fiber to the tower just outside of Town Hall building and use that tower to get our backhaul service to the water tower. In doing so, I would propose that we provide one free service to the town at Town Hall location at the speed equal to our highest advertised speed and pay a sum of $25 a month to the town for use of electricity. This would require that we be able to place a cabinet on the site next to the tower so that we have 24/7 access to the equipment inside the cabinet. We would also need to place equipment and have access to electricity at the water tower. If this is agreeable, we can commence with a lease agreement for the town hall site and a separate agreement for the water tower. Thank you for your consideration for providing wireless broadband services to the town of Delaware and surrounding areas. Sincerely, Mike Gailey. Now is that's not Bartnet, isn't it's all Bartnet?
I talked to them, I believe it was Thursday. They were planning on being here this week to put boots on the ground, to look at things and make sure that that's exactly what they want to do.
Okay, so where would this cabinet be located, right?
Yeah, it's a small cabinet.
Okay.
It's a small, I'm gonna say it's probably 3 foot across, probably 2 foot deep, and maybe 4 foot tall. That's all it is.
And they want to put one on the water tower and one up here on
That's what they're proposing. We haven't just physically talked about it with them standing here. So, I mean, I don't want to get into the, that part of it. I don't know the reasoning to want to bring it to City Hall to start with rather than just take it to the water tower. I would think taking it to the water tower first would be the way to go.
Fiber optic,
I don't, that's not my deal. But the way they was talking, it's not gonna take very long. I mean, this is something that they're gonna plow on with. And we've had a lot of people coming into City Hall asking about internet. So, and then catching us out on the street too.
I think it'd be a good thing, I mean, because AT&T is kind of hit or miss here lately.
Yeah, sure.
I agree. I make a motion, we go ahead and commence with a lease agreement for the town and a separate agreement for the water tower, pending if they decide to go with just one cabinet.
I'll second that.
Duncan?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Discussion, consideration of, is there any other old business?
Yeah, we just wanted to give a small review of what the youth committee has done this year improvements to, which is the container, making the fireworks stand in that. And that includes all the steel, the electrical parts, the lumber, the container itself. The total was $5,978.56. $2,500 was the container, and the rest, $34.78, was the parts and donations to kids. And for sick kids or activities, we made $500 in donations. Holiday activities, movie nights, total $1,153.33. That's what we've done, the youth committee's done this year.
Any other old business?
Oh, yes. So, we got ahold of District 3 again, last week to find out about our stop signs and the speed limit signs. They never got ordered. So, they are supposed to, he turned around and told the secretary to get them ordered. He said that they had like 3 or 4 in the yard. I said, well, we need about 20. And he said, well, there's no reason to start with 3 or 4. So he said he thought they had plenty of signposts, but they were going to go inventory them. So hopefully, I don't know how long it takes them to come in, but it shouldn't take very long. So hopefully we'll be able to get our stop signs put back up here in town. And then he was checking in on the speed limit signs, so we can get them posted, so that we can get some of the drag racing taken care of through town.
I think most of our Delaware Street's gonna take care of all those.
So-
The holes and everything, Delaware Street's gonna take care of that speed.
So with that being said, I did spend the better part of the day with the backhoe here in town, working on some of the holes and the ditches where the horns were plugged up at the intersections and stuff like that. I can only do so much with the backhoe. I stole gravel from Cherry Street and put it in places where, I mean, we got 2 loads of gravel dumped on Cherry Street, just dumped on Cherry Street. So I actually got some of it, moved it around to some of the areas that we definitely needed some rock. Other places I was able to just back drag and grade the road up. I know right there in front of Joni's house, and there on the west side of Joni's house, it was pretty bad, and I went down through there today, and I need to go hit it again, because, I mean, you can only do so much.
Right there in Maine and 16.5 in front of Flowers is.
I actually filled that in with rock. It's asphalt, and that rock's not gonna stay in asphalt when they go through that intersection running 35 mile an hour. It just, that gravel's just going all over the place.
Can't we go down and get some bag patch or something? They have some. They did. We still have, I think they had them in town sitting there.
The thing about it is the roads are actually the county deal.
Yeah.
But he did tell me while I had him on the phone that he had it in their long-range plan. They had 2 roads in South Coffeyville that they was going to chip and seal, and then they were supposed to be coming to Delaware, and they wanted to grade the roads up and possibly asphalt or chip and seal the rest of our gravel roads here in town. Now, that's what he told me. So I'm hoping that happens, but we've got to get the roads fixed before they start chipping and sealing, or we're not going to get anything out of it.
I say, can we go get some bag patch? That's something we gotta.
No, that's just money. I mean, we can do that, but that's all I've got on it.
Any other old business? Discussion, consideration of any new business? Citizens time?
I don't know when.
Citizens time?
Okay. I thank the board for giving me a few minutes, and I'll only take a couple of your minutes up. I know you're busy, but we're here to see how we can better serve Nowata, or Delaware rather, I'm sorry. A couple of meetings ago, one of the board members made the statement that you were getting no help from Nowata. If we're falling short, I'd like to know where and what we need to do to better assist you in Delaware.
We like, I'm sure Nowata, we have a drug problem up here.
Mhm.
And we also have stragglers walking all hours of the night, and we also have a dog problem. And I know that you're probably not able to help us on that, but, you know, we have kids walking, and, I mean, if the dogs aren't being fed, they're eventually gonna get aggressive. We have speeding issues. I had reported and called in during our 3 weeks at 4th of July. We had a guy in a Camaro, or a Mustang, every day, 4:15. I mean, he would turn the corner sideways and hammer it down till he got to the highway, and then you could hear him again. And I mean, we had kids coming up and down. It's just,
So you're talking about the drug problem, speeders, the dogs, there's no leash lock, so there's very little we can do there. We have been coming up here a lot. We spend a lot of time in Delaware. We served a search warrant just recently in your city, or your town here. We made several arrests, and will continue to be up here. We intend to spend some late nights here, hopefully to stop those walking up and down the streets. I think we've accomplished to get some of your lawnmowers off the street. Are you still seeing much of that?
no, but in the middle of the night, you can hear four-wheelers and stuff like that.
We had one go by about an hour and a half ago.
Pardon?
We had one go by about an hour and a half ago.
Okay. So tell me what you want us to do.
It's, I mean, before you, I mean, you guys come into town, it's already known that you're here.
Right.
And everything.
And there's no way we can
And,
keep that from happening.
You know, it's just,
Continue to clean up the drug cabinet.
Pardon me?
Continue to clean up the drug cabinet.
We'll continue to work on that. I mean, that's our
That
main
would
goal,
relieve
is to
a lot
continue to work to
of
that.
issues.
Kathy, do we
All
still
the way
have
around.
several houses that we think are being inhabited by, that they may need to know the addresses of?
Yeah, that's important that we know that. We have several that we're watching, and we try to be up here where we're visible a lot more, I think, than what has been happening. So, I mean, are you seeing us in town? I
see you all the time in my house.
I
I
appreciate
was
it.
gonna say, my road's
You're
pretty
on
well
the
away
watch list.
from my road.
We instruct our deputy reserves. She's over, Captain Hadley's over the reserves, and she has several reserves that she assigns to Delaware. I myself come up here, Jim comes up here, so we're spending a lot of time up here. It's gonna take us a little time to try to clean it up. And, you know, will we be
It didn't
100%
happen
successful?
overnight.
Exactly. I don't know, but we'll continue to try. If we can get some addresses, that would certainly help us. Call me, you know, you have my phone number. If you don't, I'll be glad to give it to you. Call me and tell me where you need us and when you need us. And it doesn't matter if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, call us. They'll get us out. Dispatch will call us out. We'll come. Okay?
had there been any more reported about the gentleman next door?
Yes.
Yes.
We have a positive ID on the person that robbed him. Okay.
I mean, that was pretty brazen with all of us just right next door
Absolutely.
in broad daylight.
But we do have a positive ID on him, and we'll be working to get the warrant for his arrest.
We'll also be asking for a warrant once the person that took his clothes,
Good.
stamps,
Good.
whatever.
So there'll be
from-
several arrests made out of that.
But you guys has got a lot of these goobers walking around there sleeping in trucks and cars at night. I'm telling you, I never seen nothing like it. And the other night, she shook down a joker with some stolen checks in his pockets. But then the lady didn't want to do nothing about it. But y'all gotta help us too, you know.
We're willing to come out and be out as much as we need to be. Just but we need help too. You live here and you know what the concerns are, so if you work with us, we'll be here. Okay?
Thank you.
I hope we get to make some more drug busts in the neighborhood.
Well, it's also helpful if you have the support of the court to,
Yes.
you know, if they release them as soon as you get them, so.
I thank you for the time.
You
Any
didn't
others?
say anything to the sheriff?
The car you called in on 4th of July, are you still having problems with that car? Because I stopped him not long after you called and spoke with him about that.
I haven't, I mean, it was just, those 3 weeks we was up there, it was very noticeable,
Right,
but I'm usually not back in town
okay.
around that time now.
But you haven't heard anything about it?
I haven't.
Okay.
But I mean, that is also around the time the school buses go through too, so that would, that would be another issue.
Okay.
Any other citizens' time?
I would like to thank Ethan and Kathy for grading my road a little bit and dragging them big rocks into my alley to stop the traffic through there. I got ruts that deep, my sewer does not drain. It's been an absolutely wet year. 3 loads of laundry, we can't flush or anything. I believe we had some pipe and stuff about 2 years ago for that project.
Yeah, you're actually on the agenda on the next meeting.
Oh, I really need it. I've been waiting 2 years in that house.
One thing I have on Citizens Time is we're having a Christmas parade the 14th at 2 o'clock.
And Santa's gonna be around
Santa's gonna
afterwards.
be here, afterwards.
Cookies and candy,
Yeah, cookies and candy.
hot chocolate.
When you guys have somebody stealing water, that I know Ethan has, you gotta turn in a bill to the district attorney's office. I know you might not know he stole $30 or $109 or whatever the case might be, but you gotta turn that in to the DA's office, turn that in so that you can get restitution. That's the only way you can get restitution is by turning in, you may not know what he stole a month or how many months, but you got a good idea and turn in an estimate to the district attorney's office so you can ask for restitution. And that's on anything, but I mean, I'm using water, for example. Turn that in.
It's good stuff to know.
Yeah,
Didn't know about it.
nobody's
Ever said anything about
said
it.
anything, they just asked and put it in the report, but
You'll
nobody's ever
get
said anything
reimbursed.
further, yeah.
Yeah, we have to have at least some kind of estimate of what we think it was, or gotta be somewhere in the area.
Any other citizens' time? I make a motion to adjourn. Second. Town of Delaware Public Works Authority, regular meeting, December 10, 2019. Call to order, roll call, and establish from the forum.
Duncan?
Yes.
Collins? Yes. Bain?
Yes.
Consideration of the consent agenda.
You don't gotta make a motion.
Good job.
I'll second.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Report from, yes,
Collins?
Yes.
Bain?
Yes.
report from the Water Sewer Department on item A, maintenance and operations.
So, we went ahead and, over on East Street, went ahead and just filled the holes in where we was gonna abandon that line, just to get them cleaned up so they wouldn't be there for winter. The new meter on the end of Cherry Street, which was Candy Hall, that we set for, was it Chance? There had been some issues where the line had blown off and they had a high water bill, and they had put it back on with compression coupling and it blew off again, and they actually covered it up this time and it's leaking again. But Candy has came in, said that she would take care of the bill and wanted us to go ahead and shut that water meter off, since there's not supposed to be anybody in the trailer house now, since there was a search warrant served. So that deal, so the new meter that we set is actually gonna be sitting up there vacant for a while until something's taken care of up there. We also have a meter down on Road 17 there on the curve, the trailer house that has been pulled because of lack of payment and the traffic that's in and out. It had got turned back on, so it's just totally been pulled out. We'll see where that goes from here. I've checked it a couple of times periodically, weekends and stuff like that, to find out if it's been tampered with. So far, we're good. I did notice there was a lot of traffic in and out there today, though, so we'll just have to see that, where we go from there. This month, we've had quite a few people report that their bills were being in the wrong mailboxes. I've had several people get ahold of me, and it's like, man, we can only put the address on them, so, you know, you still have a water bill, you still need to go pay your water bill. So I don't know what the issue is.
We got a new person and they're out there in training.
I don't know what the deal is, so if you guys have any complaints or anything,
The post office.
it's a post office.
Or just
doing it.
call and ask and I can read it.
Yeah, so, other than that, we've just been taking care of the little things, trying to keep people's lids on meters and stuff like that, so.
Item B, discussion and possibility of replacing damaged line in the alley between Sammy Little and Jonah Fisher.
So, on that one, what we done was that alley has been being used as basically a private drive, plowing up and down that alley, and like she said before, there's ruts up there that's a foot, 14 inches deep. I did take a couple of big rocks up there and set in the alley so we can stop that. I've called a locate in on that alley. They've changed their locate deal to 72 hours. It's supposed to be done by tomorrow morning, I think it is, tomorrow or Thursday morning. I was going to go ahead and dig it up and see if we can figure out what the problem is and get our sewer fixed. This is a gray area. I'm going to be right up front. This is going to be on a private line. It's not, we don't have main line sewer problems right there. It's going to be on the service tab, but it is in the alley and it's going to be where it goes into our service. So I'm planning on digging it up and at least fixing that problem and taking care of it. We've done that before for people. It's just, this is what we've come to. As far as the replacing the main line, it's on the list because it's one of the lines that we haven't replaced yet. It's not on the priority list right now because we have other places that we're having the issues that we need to get to first. And Dwayne is here to talk about, under old business, relaying some of the lines as far as our next project. So, I mean, we're continuing trying to get that done. And the DEQ is still on us to get our lines totally replaced. But in the alleys and stuff like that, the summer that we've had and the water that's been running everywhere, with us working in confined areas, we're going to tear everything up trying to replace. You know, if we was out in the open in a pasture, we can kind of, you know, get away with it because you can fix it. But it's a tight area working on stuff like that right now. So, when they get when they get that alley flagged, because there's phone line down that alley,
Right.
I'll try to get in there and we'll see if we can get your sewer fixed where you can release.
Okay, and I can hire somebody to go between my house and the fence, but being outside the fence, I don't drive in my backyard because I don't want Christmas. You know.
That's,
Is that a through alley or has it been closed off?
It's not gravel, so you don't usually drive in them if they're not gravel.
Basically, the alleys are just for utility right-of-ways. I mean, they're not paved, they're not gravelled, they're not a roadway. There's roads in front of everyone's homes.
After that's fixed, are you still gonna leave the big rocks there to prevent it?
yeah, I mean, it'd probably take 50 or 60 ton of rock just to get it filled back up to where, I mean,
Those ruts are deep, they're bad.
yeah, it's either that or we're gonna have to haul shale or something to
Nails
fill it
out,
up.
because he's a construction guy, so when he goes real fast so he doesn't sink, he throws nails out behind the cars.
And I hate to go in there.
Did you gather them up and go put them back behind his?
I gather them up sometimes, and then go put them back out.
I mean, I hate to put rock in an alley that we're gonna tear up eventually anyway and lose it,
Well, you don't want to encourage them to drive on top of the sewer lines anyway, because there's manholes in the centers of those alleys. They're not really for driving. They're for utility purposes. Sounds like that.
It is,
but, well,
Gotta get the locate first.
yeah.
I can look you up a contractor's name that did mine.
Oh, I got a good plumber. They've already been out and did my whole underneath my house, but they found where it was collapsed in the alley.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the list of PWA meetings for the calendar year 2020.
Again, it's the same list. It's just formality.
I got reading form.
No. I mean, you each have a list in your folder.
I'll make a motion to accept the scheduled meetings as set forth on the agenda that you gave us.
I'll second.
Duncan?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
This list is always given to the county clerk's office.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action on any old business. Ask Dwayne. Old Dwayne.
I appreciate you having me up. I'm Dwayne. I'm your engineer. As you know, we finished a sewer project for you a few months ago, coming up those alleys that we were talking about. We didn't spend all the money. We had some money left over from the Cherokee Nation, and decided to go ahead and proceed on. The line that we've been focusing on have been the deep lines, and the main line in town that it's a 12-inch line that has a lot of sags and bellies in it, and we found a lot of that in the last project that we did. We decided to continue on. We got all the way up to the railroad and tied into the ductile iron line that runs under the railroad. It's your only line under the railroad, so we have to be careful not to cause this problem. But the ductile iron seems sound, so we decided to hop over on the other side of the track, and we're going to tie into that other end of the ductile. Continue on. That line's about 10, 12 feet deep, which is a little bit longer than, a little bit deeper than what Ethan's comfortable with his track or his backhoe. And we're going to go at least 2 sections of pipe, which is about 800 feet, and then see where that goes. If you have some extra money, we'll turn and go up to the north. It's a lot shallower line, and it'll be an 8-inch line, but it'll be up to you to decide on how you want to finish spending the Cherokee money that you were given for the sewer line project. But I'm about 50% complete with the plans. The project's been surveyed, and I've cut my cross sections on the lines, which basically means I've got my drafting set up, and I should be ready to go in January. If you want to take it out to bid in January, we can do that. That'll give us till about March before you can award it, because there's a process of getting the bids out. And then that'll make you an early spring start for construction and finish up in the summertime. Within 60 or 90 days of construction. Good thing is you're not going to have to dig under the railroad or bore under the railroad. That won't take any time to get a permit. You have to work on it, hop on the other side of the railroad and work on it. We've been successful in getting a couple of good bidders and keeping the prices low. I'm hoping we continue to get interest in the sewer line. They like contractors like larger projects, but from time to time they like work that fills in when they can do between bigger projects. And we've been lucky. We've had a couple of contractors from across the state who have shown up and done work, and get 3 or 4 months worth of work and be completed. So I do appreciate you having me up. I know you probably noticed my assistant with me tonight. We had a conflict in our schedules at home, and I was going to have to take her home and be 30 minutes later, so she agreed to ride with me up here and visit the big town of Delaware. So first time she's been up here. Her brother's been up.
She's really impressed.
Her brother's been up here surveying with me, but she's never been. So it's her first time. I appreciate you letting her come up. And December's not December without a little bit of cookies and whatever. So just come back here on the back. So whenever you guys get done, you can share on some of that too. But do you have any questions for me?
I did have a conversation with DEQ the other day. They were wanting an update on our consent order, there are scheduled of tasks. And originally, we were supposed to start smoke testing by now, but they're willing to extend that again.
Okay, good.
And so I just need to get some information from you
Okay.
regarding when we're gonna start this next project, what the timeline would possibly be, and then they'll do another extension on us. But he was pleased with everything that we got done.
Have we noticed a reduction in flow any?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's another good thing. We get rid of the old clay pipe, put in the PVC. It's a lot tighter pipe. It'll cut your water, the water that gets in. You think everything should go to the plant, but only wastewater should go to your plant, not your surface water. Everybody across the state's fighting it. You're not the only one. And I'm glad DEQ's working with you on that, because sometimes they're relentless with little towns. And there's a couple out there that have some big fines, and they're trying to figure out how to pay the fine, much less try to figure out how to take care of the improvements they gotta make. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much line he's gonna want us to get replaced before we start doing the flow monitoring.
Sure.
And
That in itself, if you don't have your own equipment, can be expensive.
yes,
Been doing some of that down south, and
Well-
it's not cheap.
we have the equipment, we just will have to hire the person to do the data.
Oh, data, okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, good.
Because the grant that we had a long time ago paid for the equipment, but we just had to pay for the flow, the
Okay.
data. But we could possibly use the Cherokee Nation, if there's any money left
Sure.
from that,
Sure.
to use that to pay for the.
Do you
Because
have
it's
any
pretty
questions for me
expensive.
other than that? Appreciate you having me up, and.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
What kind of cookies are they?
Oh, I can't tell you, you're on camera.
Is there any other old business? Discussion, consideration of any new business from PWA? Any citizens' time for PWA? Make a motion to adjourn?